The old Chevy rumbled down the dirt road, its headlights cutting through the thick darkness of the Appalachian night. Inside, Sarah shivered, pulling her jacket tighter around her. Beside her, David gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles white in the dim light. They were running later than intended. The park would be closed soon. It was just a silly superstition, Sarah told herself. No one really came out here this late anyway, especially not in the fall. The air was getting colder and soon the leaves would turn. The woods would be silent but for the wind. "You sure about this, Davy?" Sarah asked, her voice barely a whisper. David glanced at her, a nervous smile playing on his lips. "Don't worry, Sarah, just a quick look around for old times' sake." They reached the park gates, rusted and creaking in the night. David parked the car near the edge of the trees. He didn't cut the engine. The woods were silent, but both of them felt a sudden chill. There was someone out there watching them. The silence was broken only by the soft murmur of the engine. David turned the key, but the engine sputtered and died. He tried again and again, but the old Chevy refused to start. "Great," Sarah muttered, her voice tight with anxiety. "Just what we need." David slammed his fist against the dashboard. "Damn it!" He got out of the car and lifted the hood. The engine ticked softly as it cooled, wisps of steam rising into the night air. David swore under his breath. He wasn't sure what was wrong, but it didn't sound good. "No signal out here," Sarah said, holding up her phone. "We're stuck." A twig snapped in the darkness beyond the reach of the headlights. Sarah and David froze, their hearts pounding in their chests. They turned towards the sound, their eyes straining to pierce the gloom. 2 points of light appeared in the distance, faint and flickering like fireflies, then more. Slowly approaching, they bobbed gently like lanterns carried by unseen hands. Sarah felt a shiver crawl down her spine. These lights didn't belong in the woods. As the lights drew nearer, the shapes of children began to emerge from the darkness. 4 of them, their faces pale and unnaturally still in the dim light. They wore strange clothes, old-fashioned and oddly formal. They stared at Sarah and David with large, dark eyes. "Hello?" David called out, his voice hesitant. "Can you help us?" Our car broke down. The children didn't answer. They just kept walking, their eyes fixed on the 2 teenagers. Section 4. A Cold Fear. The children stopped just beyond the reach of the headlights. They stood silently, their eyes never leaving Sarah and David. The air grew cold, and Sarah felt a knot of fear tighten in her stomach. There was something deeply unsettling about these children. The oldest of the children, a boy in a tattered grey hoodie, took a step forward. His eyes seemed to burn into Sarah's. She could have sworn they were completely black, devoid of any light or reflection. "David," Sarah whispered, her voice trembling. "Let's go, please." David slammed the hood of the car shut. He grabbed Sarah's hand and pulled her towards the driver's side door. "Get in!" he hissed. The boy in the hoodie took another step forward. "We just want to talk," he said. His voice was soft, almost a whisper, but it seemed to slither through the air like a snake. Section 5. Unanswered questions. Panic surged through Sarah. "David, please!" she cried, her voice high-pitched with terror. David fumbled with the keys, his hands shaking. He finally managed to jam the key into the ignition and turned it. The engine roared to life. The boy in the hoodie didn't move. He just stood there watching them, a strange smile playing on his lips. David threw the car into reverse and backed away, spinning the wheels in the loose gravel. He didn't stop until they were back on the main road. Sarah risked a glance back at the park. The children were gone. The only light came from the moon, casting long, eerie shadows in the woods. Sarah and David never spoke of that night again, but they never forgot the chilling encounter in the Appalachian darkness. They never forgot the children with the strange lights and the empty eyes. Who were they? What did they want? The questions lingered unanswered like a cold breath on the back of their necks.